Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. In this episode, we'll be speaking with the team from Kadcars. This conversation was recorded on August 16th, 2023, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of Kadena Ecosystem directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also, make sure to subscribe to our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Welcome everybody to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. Today we have back with us the amazing team behind Kadcars. Welcome back. Good to have you guys here.
Thank you. Good. Thank you for, first of all, hosting the space. And as always, we enjoy having this space with you.
Awesome. So you guys have been hard at work, always building awesome, crazy things. Let's just start off, just in case maybe people listening, this might be their first time hearing about Kadcars, aren't exactly sure what it is. Maybe just give the quick rundown about what Kadcars is all about.
Sure thing. So before I get started, just a quick shout out to Ron, white kid, one of our most active followers on Discord. Ron is our CWO, our Chief One Officer. So these guys really keep us, entertained and keep the Discord community active. So shout out to you guys. So what Kadcars is in a nutshell, is we created 3D NFTs. We created them all on the 3D software, and we did that so that way we can move them later on to our game. And our champions, who are like our most prestigious NFT holders, have already started trying out that game. They've been able to load and basically connect their wallet to the game, load it in, check out their car in a full 360 view, in what's known as a garage mode, and then take it onto the track and actually have a chance to drive their NFTs. So what we're aiming for down the line and in the future is having an upgradable NFT where the user can basically just how the car looks. The user can also, have it drive the way that he or she may want. And what we're waiting for to have this upgradability feature live is basically Marmalade version 2. The main reason is that we're expecting from the conversations we've had with the Kadena team that Marmalade V2 is going to be completely different than the V1 version. So any work we do on the V1 version gets scrapped the second V2 comes out. So our fix around for this is, for the time being, we're going to be upgrading NFTs the way any normal game, or let's say upgrading the user's car the way any normal game upgrades it, and basically off the blockchain. And then once Marm V2 is out, we're going to move or integrate all of that onto the blockchain. So that way, at least the users who are playing the game, can experience what it's going to feel like to upgrade within the game. And once it's onto the blockchain, it's going to help the users' ability to trade, and it's going to increase the value of that NFT.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are in the same boat that a lot of different projects are in, and that is just waiting for that V2 to get rolled out. I know a lot of other...
Yeah, we've been very back and forth about this, honestly. There's sometimes, there's been points where we're like, okay, screw it, we're going to do it anyway. And then we look into what it would take, and we realize that, okay, it's better, we benefit more from spending our time on something else. So it's been a very difficult decision to take, but overall we decided to settle with a solution that pretty much lets the user feel like it's been upgraded, and then actually have it onto the blockchain shortly after.
Yeah, I think that might be the safe route to go to make sure that, everything goes smoothly. And like you said, you're pretty much sitting on the data until the V2 gets rolled out. And then it's going to be just a simple kind of pump the data into the blockchain and then carry on forward from there. So, that sounds like it's probably your best bet to ensure a nice, smooth transition from one to the other.
Exactly.
So speaking of upgrades and stuff, for people who may not have tried or seen anything of the game, I believe you guys only had the one track out for people to play. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
But I see that you've been working on, I've been seeing some kind of sneak peeks of some of the other things that you guys have been working on, which kind of looks like other tracks and things like that. I've seen kind of sneak peek pictures of big open areas with water and all this kind of stuff. Can you maybe go over some of the things you guys are working on right now when it comes to in-game things that people can kind of expect?
All right. So far we've had the game launch for the champions. Come next game update, it's going to launch for everyone who is a Kadcar holder. That's the next step. And what that's going to pretty much feature at the moment is going to be the same track that we built. We are in process of creating new tracks. However, like the DNA of the next upgrade that we're bringing is going to be kind of like the foundation of how we are planning to develop our game moving forward. So we've been creating everything from scratch. So the most complicated part of it all was reward distribution systems within the game, having them completely automated by the game. So what the users can expect is we're going to be hosting regular tournaments. Initially, we had one very, very long tournament that went on to pretty much, get everyone playing competitive, see everyone's lap times against each other, and we had rewards that are going to be present for the users who won them in the next upgrade. So what the next upgrade is going to bring, in essence, is more tournaments. These tournaments are going to have challenges that are associated to them. So if you're able to win the challenge, you then unlock an upgrade, which is a visual upgrade for your Kadcar. And these upgrades are basically only going to be available during the period that the tournament is taking place. And then once that's gone, you can't buy those upgrades later on a marketplace or anything else. Like, those upgrades are going to be relative to your Kadcar. And they're basically, like I said, only going to be given to those who are able to complete the challenges, and the challenges aren't too difficult. Like, one of which, for instance, can be complete the lap absent hitting a wall, or try to get to a certain top speed, which we said, while staying on the track and not, smashing into a wall. So it's basically to encourage people to start to drive in a better way, so that way when multiplayer comes out, everyone is a lot more familiar with how a Kadcar should be driven in the fastest way possible for them to start winning races.
Now,
jump in.
Go ahead.
No, jump in.
I was just going to say, when it comes to these rewards that people are going to be able to win by playing and doing certain things in the game, are they going to be individual, actual NFTs themselves that they will be able to then list on a marketplace, or is it only going to be existing within the game itself?
So the first round of rewards that we're going to be giving out are going to be NFTs that people will be able to add onto their car, but most likely, and the reason I say most likely is I don't have my lead blockchain experts on the call, but most likely the aim is that they would not be tradable. So they will be assigned to your car, and then you would only be able to, put them onto the car that won the rewards. So an issue that we had previously was, if a user just started recently playing the game and they weren't competitive, there wasn't really room for that user to be able to get rewarded. Another issue that we had is, if you had multiple Kadcars, we were only rewarding a Kadcar that won with the fastest lap time. This new system is basically going to reward you. You can basically win these rewards for as many Kadcars as you have, and anyone is going to be able to win the rewards. Now, during the tournaments, people are still going to have the opportunity to win unique prizes, but those unique prizes are going to come in the form of trophies, or we call them badges. The badges are placed in a specific location on your Kadcar that is, let's call it the rarest area, or the rarest sticker location that you can have. And it's basically going to serve as like a badge to show people that you are a tournament winner. There's other ideas that we can do as well to reward tournament winners, but the biggest thing is that you would be getting a one-of-one sticker only for yourself. Like no one else would be able to get that same sticker ever again.
Well, that sounds very neat. I remember in some of our previous AMAs, we talked about the sticker concept and how people can, put them on their car to kind of upgrade their car. It does now. It's just a visual upgrade, though. It doesn't actually make like your car go faster or steer better or anything like that, right? These are just kind of visual upgrades.
So yeah, at the moment we're taking things step by step. So we're testing out the visual upgrade, which is the sticker, and then we're going to figure out how to get as much learning as we can from those visual upgrades, and then afterwards the performance upgrades are significantly easier to apply than the sticker upgrades. So that's going to come down the line. One more thing about the challenges that we're planning on doing is the challenges are going to be a bit goofy at times. So for instance, we can pretty much change the floor into ice without the user knowing. So the floor would pretty much look exactly like a road, and it's up to the driver to figure out what kind of actual surface or road that like he's driving on. And then for instance, the challenge would be get through the lap without crashing, or finish the lap in a certain like time period. And then it's going to be up to the driver to figure out what kind of surface he's driving on and then adjust accordingly. Other things we can do is we can mess with your Kadcar, pretty much reducing your capability of braking or increase your acceleration significantly. So that way, again, we make it fun and challenging and force you to, think outside the box as you're driving. So these are all things that we can now be able to do once we launch the newest version of the game.
I kind of like that idea of making the road kind of like an ice road, because it would kind of couple with like the idea of one of the actual upgrades to your car being like spike tires or something like that would increase your traction on if the road is ice, that people could then, they come on and they're doing special things, and people could have, we get rewards for certain things for certain challenges and stuff like that. Or another one, as soon as you said that kind of goofy ideas, would be like another one where you have to do an entire lap in reverse.
That would be fun.
Or something like that.
Frustrating.
It'd be frustrating, but I'm sure people would really enjoy it. It would be something I think people would get into. And the fact that, like you said, that you can change like their acceleration and stuff like that, I automatically thought into my head of a drag race mode where you have a track that's just a straight shot run, and then you decrease their turning abilities. So like even if they touch the wheel just a bit, it just veer them right off the road kind of thing. So they'd have to stick completely straight and just gun it, and whoever has the fastest time going straight would be like the winner of the tournament. Those are just, as soon as you said that, those were the ideas that popped into my head.
Beautiful. Those are all good ideas. I took some notes. I like those. So the idea here is when we're building the newest version of the Kadcars launch, and we call it version 1.3, we wanted to make it, like I said, a foundation to open the doors to all of these new, goofy, fun, exciting challenges and whatnot, and basically make it so that once we start building onto it, the building process would be significantly smoother, because we are at the same, in the process of creating a game from scratch. So that initial period, for instance, when we first started, was a bit slow, and then things took off super fast. And then again, once you introduce like a whole new set of parameters and requirements, things tend to slow down a bit. The testing is like, it takes a lot of time to make sure that what you're going to end up rolling out to the community doesn't piss everyone off. So we're at that stage now of testing. We plan on launching the game very, very soon. Just we haven't released a date yet until the testing, yields the positive results that we're looking for.
Now, one thing I'm pretty sure we've talked about in the past is the accessibility to the game. Have you guys put any more thought into? I believe one of the ideas that I put forward before was kind of releasing like a free-to-play demo version where people get like a basic stock car and they can do, one race. They do one track and they do the one race, and you only allow them to do like 5 or 10 laps or something, and then the game locks up and says, if you want to keep playing, go mint an NFT. Any more thoughts? Because I feel like that could really be, because the game is really awesome. It's really well done. It plays really well. I've watched Matthew on the Twitch channel from KMC. Yeah, he's really good at that game, and it looks like something a lot of people would really enjoy. So have you thought any more of making like just a free kind of demo version for people to play, and just very limited, very basic, and like I said, have it so that you can only play it X amount of times before it just kind of locks you out? I feel like that would be a really good way to just bring people in.
So we definitely want to explore that route. But priority now comes to the NFT holders. And once we have, our core users playing the game, we will start to expand it into for like the general public as well, to, let them have an opportunity to see what the game feels like. But again, Kadcars was initially created as a utility, or the game was initially created as one of the utilities of holding our NFT. So we really want to reward our NFT holders. So I feel like if we launch this feature too soon, it's not very fair for everyone who's been holding an NFT for a while.
Oh, for sure. I would definitely, this would be something down the road, definitely. Probably maybe when a V2 or something comes out, when when you're at the point where the people who actually own the NFTs have access to maybe multiple tracks, or maybe, multiple vehicle types or things like that, that then you could release just a kind of simple beta version of, just the one simple track with the one basic car that anyone can try out. It would really, I feel like, just pull more people to gravitate towards actually wanting to mint, because we're kind of, I'm sure you guys have noticed this as well, even though you've already minted out 429 of these cars, which in this market right now, quite honestly, is quite amazing, because it seems like nobody wants to let go of their Kadena right now, or mint NFTs. We're kind of in that lull right now, which is kind of funny, because you'd think more people would be wanting to mint now that the price is lower, but it's like people will wait until all of a sudden the price goes way up and there's this huge influx of people into the Kadena, and then they'll start minting NFTs and stuff, and it's like, well, you could have minted this for like half the price right now. Like, I've never really understood the way that people think in crypto when it comes to that. It's like that meme you see, right, of the two buy windows, and it's like Bitcoin is 60,000 and there's a whole huge lineup of people, and then you see Bitcoin at 20,000 and like nobody's in that lineup. And it kind of feels like we're in that same situation right now, where people could go and mint themselves a Kadcar right now for
50%
even half the price.
Even more.
Basically, yeah.
Yep. Better than a whitelist.
Yeah, from where you guys first started minting, it's down like 50% price. And so really, it's kind of the perfect time for people to be going and getting access and getting these cars and getting ready for once V2 comes out. I'm sure you guys are just going to be pedal to the metal, pushing stuff out, because we have that time right now, like all the best projects in Kadena right now have their heads down and are building and are just doing stuff in the background, getting ready for when Marmalade V2 comes out, when all these, bridges come out, when L2s come out, all that kind of stuff. So, once all that stuff kind of happens, we're just going to see this huge flux of projects just pushing out stuff and pushing out all the stuff that they've been working on for the past however many months. So I'm sure you guys will have a huge list of stuff just waiting, ready to hit that go button for when all of that stuff rolls out.
Definitely. You nailed it there. Honestly, I think that we're just in a situation now where people have to be smart about how they invest. People need to recognize that Kadena is moving forward. We're in a significantly better place development-wise on Kadena than we were when the price was higher. From a development perspective, from what the Kadena team is actually doing, how they're progressing, how they're moving forward. So it's like, if you believe in the blockchain, if you're on the blockchain, if you're doing, the correct research around the blockchain, then you should know that this time period is a time period of caution, but also a time period of opportunity. Something I always tell my devs regularly is don't focus on what's going on today. We pretty much just have to keep our heads down. We're not building for the upcoming month or 2 or 3. We're building for 2024. We're building for the future. We're building so that when the attention does come into the blockchain, people can easily recognize our project as one of the projects that is leading the way forward. And I see that a lot of the Kadena community has this very similar approach of caution, opportunity. Honestly, exciting, to say the least.
Yeah, we definitely have. It's funny. We've been now doing the Kadena ecosystem stuff for over a year and 3 or 4 months now. And yeah, we're in a completely different spot than we were a year ago, especially when not just when it comes to the development of Kadena, but the community itself. We've seen a lot of people, we've seen projects come and go. We've seen bad actors come in and go. And I think that we're at the point now where all the projects that have stuck around, and we're seeing projects now that are still around that are hitting their 1-year anniversaries and things like that. So, it shows that these projects see the value of being in Kadena, and especially see the value of building now, as opposed to once it's too late and everything, the floodgates have opened and everyone's coming in and the price is rising way up and stuff like that. It's going to be a whole different ballgame when that happens. Whereas right now, it's kind of a good place to just do your work, do your stuff in the background, and just be ready for it. So it's definitely an interesting spot. Like I keep telling people, we are where Ethereum was when it first broke away from its original chain, when it forked away from what's ETC, the original Ethereum chain. We're kind of in that starting stage right now where Ethereum was back then. And, once we see L2s, bridges, all that kind of stuff, because we already have an amazing smart contract language. We already have the base bones of an amazing NFT protocol. So, there's really nowhere to go but up from here, because they've built a really strong foundation that the Kadena team itself now is improving upon. But we also have great developers like yourselves over at Kadcars, like Amir with his Kadena AI and the stuff that he's doing. We got Swarms, which is an amazing project with Floppy building amazing protocols and stuff like that over there. We have lots of other great, amazing projects that have come into the game, like Wizards. Big shout out to Ron and the team over there. Yeah, Wizards have been doing amazing stuff as well. Then we got KMC has been doing awesome stuff and bringing lots of attention to Kadena. They're one of the good projects for that. And then we have other amazing people in the community. I see Rainwolf is listening. Tori is an awesome person with her Utterly Ridiculous. Is an awesome project, which is, got great use cases. So we got all these amazing people and all these amazing projects that have their heads down, that are, that see the potential and are just waiting for the moment to capture our chunk of the market, as you can say. And I believe that day is coming very soon.
Same. And not to forget our beautiful community. When we started building up until now, the people who have stuck around through the tough times are some of the best community members you can ask for. The feedback you get, the positivity, the honesty, everyone wants to see their favorite projects actually develop and do well. We've never had any toxic individuals. So shout out to the beautiful communities out there. And shout out to you guys. What you guys are building, man, you guys are doing some very cool stuff. Like I remember when you guys came out with your mobile wallet, man, I set up a wallet in 10 seconds. I don't think I've ever done that with any other crypto wallet. And then other than that, super easy access. It's just been, very easy to use. So I feel like, with all of this building that's going on, once we start getting that attention that our blockchain eventually will get from the technologies that we are building, people will want to stick around.
Well, thank you for the kind words. And speaking of wallets and stuff like that, any chance of getting WalletConnect as an option for connecting your wallet to Kadcars?
We want to. We're still exploring it at the moment. Zelcore hasn't been the friendliest. It's been the only option when we launched because of its desktop application. But honestly, we want to be able to get more wallets, talking and integrating into the game, because I don't want people to have to, store their NFTs in one area and then to play with them, move them into another area. It's just an extra hassle that doesn't need to be there. It's just, as always, when you're building something at the very, very beginning, there's these compromises that need to be made until the right technology is in place.
Well, we just so you know, we have our browser wallet now released, and we will be adding auto inject very soon as an option for connecting the wallet. So maybe that would be a good time at that point to add Kadena wallet to the list.
And then, if we do that, there's a Kadena wallet tournament coming your way. Full on Kadena wallet, Kadena themed tournament just to celebrate another wallet actually entering our ecosystem. So that's also one of the things that we plan on doing, is reaching out to other communities and start working on inter-community tournaments. For instance, we can reach out to, let's say, X community and strike the deal with them that, hey, we will start like any one of your members who plays Kadcars and ends up, winning a tournament or a trophy that's themed after you guys, will get these, let's say, upgrades that are unique to your project, so that you can kind of stand out in our, race course as a specific clan or group. And then once we start exploring upgradability onto the blockchain, then you get into interoperability, which means then later on, for instance, I can go over to X project we want and be like, hey, if you hold, let's say, a Kadcar and you have X sticker, then, we'll upgrade the speed to a certain parameter. Or, for instance, if you're holding a Kadcar, let's say, with a certain sticker, then your defense points in the opposite game from which that, the community of which the sticker comes from starts, basically it could go both ways. I think I overcomplicated it with X. I shouldn't use the project, but basically what we could do with interoperability is it goes both ways. You get rewarded both in the community side that you're coming from, as well as in our game.
Yeah, that sounds like definitely a good use case and things that I'm sure a lot of people can build upon. Because one thing we've definitely seen, with Wizards having their clans, is that projects will come together and form teams. And really, what kind of better game to have a team formed than a racing game? It kind of fits perfectly into that, where you can all, especially once multiplayer is a thing, then you can definitely have races of teams versus other teams, or 2 or 3 players from the Koala wallet team can race 2 or 3 players against for the Wizards racing team and stuff like that. So and then have special prizes that, if the Koala wallet people win, you win the KMC sticker, or if the KMC people or the Wizards people win, they win the Koala wallet thing and stuff like that. And like you said, tying those stickers to attributes too would be just another bonus for that, so that it's not just a visual effect that you're adding, but also an actual in-game kind of boost to your character and to your car. So that sounds very awesome indeed. One thing that you guys also have talked about in the past that you have been working on is the next version, or the next vehicle that you're going to be releasing. Now, I'm kind of just going to take an assumption and stab in the dark here that won't be happening until V2 comes out. Is that correct?
Martin V2?
Yeah, like, because it says, like, for example, right now it says on Isoko you have your upcoming mints of the next Kadcar. I'm assuming that's kind of on a hold right now until V2 comes out, because there's no sense releasing things and then having to redo them all, right?
Pretty much. So the idea here is we're testing things out with the K2. We're getting more information with the K2. We want to explore upgrades for the K2, and the K2 is basically the car that's out right now. And then once we are, once we feel like we've hit kind of a maturity point with, like, the K2, that's when we'd most likely be releasing the next version, which would be the K1, and that's kind of our speedster or roadster, as you can call it. It's more of like a sporty, kind of like a hyper sports car, whatnot. So with that one, it's just we initially wanted to mint it out with the K2, but we realized there's more benefit of waiting, and as we get more tracks, as we have more of a need in our game to have a second car, that's most likely when we'll pull the trigger. But it is more or less ready. Like I said, we have created it on our 3D softwares. So it's just sitting in the dark for now.
Yeah, that's understandable. Plus, it's like I said, we're in that lull right now where it seems like you couldn't rip KDA out of people's hands. So, when it's not exactly the best time to be launching collections and things like that. But you guys have done pretty good so far on the minting of the K2s. Now, just to go in a little bit more detail about the different iterations of cars. So it would be like, let's say right now that the K2 has, its different stats of top speed, acceleration, durability, handling. Let's just say the K2 has even stats across the board. Would that mean like your supercar version would have higher acceleration, higher top speed, but less in the other kind of aspects? Is that kind of the idea that you're going for?
So the K2 should perform well in off-road environments. So I get where you're coming from in terms of kind of like a rock, paper, scissors scenario of one beats the other in a certain scenario. At the moment, we haven't put in too much thought into that, mainly because like the main focus is how are users interacting with the K2. What are the different environments that we can throw the K2 in and, see it thrive in? And then obviously once we get the K1 out, the first thing that we do is we put it into like some CFD testing. So basically just some aerodynamic testing, because it's a 3D model at the end of the day. And then we kind of start to understand its behaviors. We throw it into our physics engine, and then afterwards you start to have an understanding of, okay, this car handles better in this situations or environment. And then afterwards, we already have, let's say, an engine parameter criteria for it. We already have the weight, height, everything already sorted out. So once you throw it into the physics engine, like basically it just starts to give you what like stats and whatnot that it's capable of producing. The idea is that in the future, we'd split the races. So if you're holding a K2, you can obviously race with it or race with the K1, but like the K2 would perform in a more of an off-roady kind of environment. Maybe it would handle better because obviously cars as you get to higher top speeds, will become become slightly harder, like more difficult. The K1 should have significantly better turning ability, however, just because of its lower center of gravity. So it is a tricky one. And just to answer your question directly, it's difficult to tell until we actually start applying the physics onto what we've created.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, you did just mention something which kind of piqued my interest, and that is off-road. Does that mean that we're going to be seeing some maybe desert features where you're racing around in sand, or maybe like a swamp feature or things like that, or going through the snow and going through it'd be really cool to have a Christmas themed track where you're rolling around in the Arctic around Santa's village or something like that. Are those kind of things that you guys are in the works? Can you maybe go into some kind of sneak peek ideas on what we might see in the future as far as environments and tracks?
So initially, we wanted to go down the realistic path line, and I must say, I think we came together as a team and we decided that we want to keep it as open as possible. So the physics and the driving and whatnot of the Kadcars will still maintain the same DNA of realistic, but still has an element of arcade. But the trucks are going to be open to our game designers. So we're going to give them flexibility and freedom to design what they want. But one thing I do want to highlight is we have 5 unique backgrounds. One is rooftop, one is on a snowy mountain, the other one's on a beach, aka sand. We have one in a server room, which is kind of like an indoor slippery surface. So we are planning on releasing tracks that are, inspired by those backgrounds. Now, the only challenge that we're having at the moment is we're focusing all of our energy and resources to build the core functionalities of the game. And then we'll get to the fun stuff, which is track building. And I think that's the most exciting part when you're developing a game. What we're doing right now is very boring in essence, because once it works correctly, it just provides the user a smoother experience. It provides the user more features that most people, might take for granted. But it's the hardest, most annoying part, which is just setting up, if the user wants to do this and this happens, or if the user wins this, then this happens. And then, all these intricate details, that's just what we're focusing on at the moment. Once all of that's out of the way, then hopefully we'll have our resources focused on creating all the tracks. And then I believe it depends, I guess. So, and depending on the season we're in, it will most likely come out as a seasonal thing. So let's say if our resources are basically if we're able to get multiplayer out and running, let's say by winter time, then the focus is going to be creating a winter track. If it's by summertime, then we'll most likely do something modeled after the Kadena beach. So it's something that we want to do. It's just more of where do you want to focus your energy, your resources, your time, and your efforts.
Yes, like I said earlier, it's what about the Kadena itself is, it's all about, you got to build that foundation first, and then you can build really cool things on top of that. So that definitely needs to be the focal point of making sure that underlaying of what you're building has a solid foundation and everything is functional and everything is safe, secure, and set up so that you can then build upon that and build all of these awesome little tiny features that, take take advantage of the core underlying foundation protocols that you build. So very cool to hear that you guys are pumping away, working really hard on making sure to build what I feel is going to be one of the top games in the Kadena space. And as we're getting towards that spot where blockchain, NFTs, and gaming are really starting to come together, and we're going to see. I even believe that we're going to start seeing some of the major players, like I believe PlayStation is already working on NFT integrations into some of their platforms, and so having these games built now before the big dogs kind of get into the space is just going to really help further the space and further the projects themselves. So really cool to hear that we're getting into that next realm. NFTs were kind of just the base starting off spot, but really it's the utility of what NFTs can bring that's going to bring the next big wave of integration and adoption for blockchain. So really cool to hear, really awesome that you guys, like I said, have your heads down, are continuing to work, continuing to build stuff, and very exciting to see what's going to happen in the very near future. And like I said, hopefully V2 gets released sooner than later, because like I said, a lot of projects are in that same boat as you guys of kind of building up a back repertoire of things and tools and stuff that you want to release. But like you said, it's no sense having to release something on a V1 version and then having to go back and change it all again once V2 is released. So it's better to just kind of sit on it for now, have it ready so that when V2 comes out, it's just kind of press play and away you go.
Exactly. And then one more thing to touch on is that with NFTs, we started off with people buying NFTs because they look good, and then people buying NFTs because they have a great resale value, like similar to art. And then it was the utilities, whether the NFT gives you access to a club, a group, discounts, it makes you revenue or whatnot. And then what I personally think is going to start happening is people buy, and one of the biggest attraction points that I see anyway is the smart contract. Depending on the smart contract that your NFT has, that's really going to impact how you're able to use your NFT when adaptability, starts becoming a lot more common. Once people start getting into, let's say you have a Kadcar with the power of a smart contract, it's very easy, let's say later on, to rent it out to someone, because that governs it. Basically, you give them 5 phrases, the smart contract then governs it, and then it returns the NFT to you after those 5 phrases. Or let's say you're playing a game where you have an avatar and you're wearing a certain shirt, and that shirt is a sponsor for Mountain Dew. Using, again, your smart contract, is very easy for that smart contract to make sure that you wear that shirt for a certain period of time, and then again, that rewards you, and so on. So genuinely, the direction we're moving with smart contracts, Pact itself is a very strong smart contracting system. So people kind of tend to forget, the importance of our smart contracts, but it's really going to open a lot of doors for a lot of revenue streams for people down the line.
Yep, definitely. It's definitely going to be an interesting future. Like you said, NFTs, the monkey pictures may have been the jump off that got people interested in NFTs. But once you look beyond that and actually look at the functionality of it, and like you said, integrating NFTs and smart contracts together, and which kind of sets Kadena apart with Marmalade, with the fact that the NFTs can be upgradable, and you can, add things to them, take things away from them, and all do that in a safe and secure manner without having to burn an NFT and then remint a new one. That's really a game changer that I don't think a lot of people even are aware about from other ecosystems, because I don't know of any other ecosystem that has an NFT standard that does that kind of thing. Because it's very, I feel like that's, besides gas stations, I feel like gas stations and and Marmalade are the two biggest selling features, especially when it comes to gaming on a blockchain. Those things are game changers when it comes to if you want to build an NFT based game. And you guys are definitely showing people how that's possible. That's for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, Kadena is one of the best platforms to be on for gaming.
For sure, because like I said, gas stations I feel are one of the main things for sure when it comes to gaming, because you don't want people, buying let's say, for example, you sell like skin NFTs or something for your game for like $5 each. You don't want them paying $50 in gas fees to buy a $5 skin, or having them pay a whole bunch in fees to put the thing on their car or change this or change that. So it really makes a big difference when it comes to that. And speaking of gas stations, have you guys is that something you guys are going to be utilizing for your in-game features? So when people want to add stickers or things like that to their car, that hopefully like a gas station might be utilized in those kind of cases?
So that's still under conversation. I know that Isoko, our marketplace, is utilizing gas stations. For Kadcars, we have it's basically when we get there kind of thing. We'll figure out and decide how we're going to move forward with it.
Yep, that makes sense. And just out of curiosity, and you don't have to cover this if you don't want to, any kind of quick update you might want to give about Isoko, since we're here and you just mentioned it?
Who's on?
Because I know you got some cool things coming up.
I wouldn't do it justice if I did, because let me see, none of the guys from my team are on call. So basically, they've been very hard at work with Isoko. I'll have them put out a tweet today, pretty much, to cover Isoko. So basically, we're a team of 5 founders, and we kind of we kind of split each other up a bit, so that half of us put in 100% attention here, and the other half they're 100% attention there. So at the moment, I'm not fully informed on the latest developments of Isoko, but I'll have them put out a tweet today.
Well, I will say that there was one tweet that came out 19 hours ago now, and that is that the marketplace is going to be coming.
Okay.
Yes, they did announce that. Okay, so I wasn't sure. I didn't want you to spill anything that hasn't already.
Do we call them tweets now or X's?
I think they're called posts. I think they're called posts. I noticed that the tweet button now just says post.
I don't know, man. Like today,
I guess
I tried to get on like open Twitter on my phone, their X on my phone, starting off by writing Twitter. I felt like, like, what am I doing? Where's Twitter? It took me like half a second to realize, wait a minute, no, like it's kind of like that muscle memory that must be forgotten.
I like the people who are like, oh, I'm leaving because this is no longer Twitter. And it's like, you realize it's the exact same app, right? Like they haven't actually changed the app. It's literally just it's a visual thing, like I don't understand the big huff about that. But yeah, no, they've changed, at least on desktop now. The tweet button now says post. I also noticed that it's no longer called retweets. They're called repost.
Yep.
That they changed that as well. So I'm sure more things are being in the lineup for that. So, but yeah, I don't know. I could care less either way what it's called, as long as it still works the same way and stuff like that. I really could care. You could call it X, you can call it Twitter, you can call it whatever you want. It still does the same functionality, and that's really what's important to me, that I can still have these spaces and still post information that we need to our followers. That's what's important. Exactly. So as long as they don't mess up that stuff, it'd be nice to see some improvements to the Twitter spaces. For example, being able to host them from a desktop application, that would be huge. Just adding the ability, adding the ability to run on my desktop.
But yeah, I fully agree with you.
Yeah, I don't understand what's holding them back from that. But $44 billion, I guess you only get so much with that, I guess. So it looks like.
I have Robert. Oh, there we go. Isoko's on board, so he'll give you a quick run through of what to expect. There, Robert. What's up?
Sure, go ahead.
How are you guys doing?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate the extra time. By the way, I was listening on in and off of the space, and really appreciate you guys taking time. And I see you have like boxing badgers coming up as well. Lovely to see it. So regarding Isoko, right? A lot has happened. I'm not gonna lie. We started with a very simple design, and we planned to launch in June, and then decided, actually, let's do it very difficult. Let's redesign the whole system, or let's redesign the whole infrastructure, and make ourselves miserable. However, because of that, we have a really cool project coming out on August 20th, 6 p.m. CST. And a quick summary of it would be that it's gonna have both MARM and non-MARM contracts. So people are not gonna need to jump between different marketplaces. It's gonna be a one-stop shop for all Kadena NFTs, because at the current moment there's still quite a lot of NFTs of Kadena that are over MARM fork. And then another really important aspect is gonna be our Easy Buy. Easy Buy is also coming over to trading as well. So not only minting is gonna have chain agnostic tools, but also trading. And yeah, that's a really quick summary. There's gonna be a lot of marketing. So guys, I really would appreciate you if you guys interact with all of our Isoko posts. A lot of coming up, and yeah, let's keep on grinding. I know that bear market sucks. It's been going for way too long, but not too far away. What else? Let me think. Oh, we have actually 4 more projects that we're talking regarding launching on Kadena and Isoko. So clearly there's a lot of interest still, and what we have seen lately is that more, I would say, serious Web2 projects are actually looking to launch an NFT collection. So that's really refreshing, especially because it shows that Web2 still has a lot of interest, even though it's a big bear market at the moment. There's still a lot of interest from outside of our current bubble.
Well, that sounds very awesome. It's like I've been saying, you guys have just been pumping out amazing things over there with your team between Kadcars and Isoko, and I'm sure all your hard work will pay off in the end. And just bringing, like you said, an all-in-one shop is going to be a huge changer, where people can be able to just buy and sell NFTs that are, on no matter what your protocol is. So that's very awesome to hear. Maybe a good time to maybe reach out to us and line up an AMA just strictly about Isoko, and we can do help with a little bit of marketing there.
Yeah, let's chat over your Discord channel. At the moment, I'm probably the only one available, because all of our 5 other developers, they're like working nonstop. Again, specifically because we created like an infrastructure where it's really easy to scale for us, and we can add other stuff. I don't want to spoil too much. I rather kept it very simple, like a very broad overview of what's gonna come to Isoko. But along the way, with version 2, version 3, and version 4, there's gonna be a lot more stuff that's gonna make it's significantly easier for us to onboard more users to Kadena. Like, we're going to try to eliminate as many obstacles as possible. So it's like a no-brainer. It's so easy to bridge over to Kadena that more people are going to do that from Solana and Ethereum.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming up and giving us that update. Very much appreciated. I know a lot of people have been following along and are very curious.
Oh yeah, a lot of more cool stuff to come. And I really appreciate you extending the AMA. I was glad that I was on my WhatsApp when Mo texted me about it. Appreciate it, guys.
You rock.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much everything that we've covered. Is there anything that we didn't maybe want to mention before we wrap things up here?
I think from my end, that's about good. If there's anyone in the community who is listening in who has any questions, we can quickly get that sorted. If not, thank you so much for, hosting us again. Always, always, always a pleasure.
You're very welcome. One great place to, if you have any questions or concerns or comments about Kadcars, is to join their Discord. They have an awesome Discord server, which is very active. Lots of people always in there chatting, including lots of their team members. So make sure you guys give Kadcars a follow, get in their Discord, but most importantly, go and mint yourself a Kadcar so that you can play this awesome game that they're building. I highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. It is definitely one of the top games in I just say in all of the blockchain space that I've seen so far. It is very well done. So yeah, thank you very much for coming back and giving us this amazing update. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully V2 comes out soon and we'll see all of the amazing stuff that you guys are working out come to fruition.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. This is another awesome AMA. Oh, you got one more thing to add there, Isoko? You got your hand up?
I thought it's waving than me.
No worries. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Make sure you guys, like I said, give Kadcars a follow, join their Discord, go mint yourself a Kadcar and play this awesome game. Also, make sure you go check out KadenaEcosystem.com. Check out our calendar for all the upcoming AMAs to not miss out on any of these awesome conversations. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming and listening today, and have yourselves a great day. Take care. That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at Kadena Ecosystem, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on the projects before investing. Also ensure to follow us on our social media from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.